Hello, welcome to the Advisor Training for Student Organization Leadership Workshops. My name is Tiara Nibbs. I'm the Coordinator for Student Organizations Development in the Office of Student Activities and Organizations, and I will be taking you through today's webinar. We will be working on and learning about gaining a greater understanding of the registration process for student organizations. Also, making sure as advisors, you all understand the roles and risk of advising. And lastly, that you understand where your resources are that you can use in your advising efforts. The role of advisor comes in many different ways. Two of the beginning would be mentor and supervisor. Your students have probably picked you to be your advisor just basically because you are knowledgeable about the profession. They trust you and they lean on you for intellectual and emotional professional support. They may also look at you as a supervisor and that the guidance that you are able to bring them in that capacity. They may also look at you as a teacher and a leader. The greatest influence a student has on this campus is from the faculty. And they will definitely look at you in that role as teacher and helping them broaden their understanding to help people, help them examine the problems and different viewpoints that come to them in their student organization. Also, they certainly will look at you as a leader, allowing you to help them through the different processes of leadership in terms of challenging the process, inspiring a shared vision, enabling others to act, modeling the way, and encouraging the heart. The last role of advisor that I like to speak about is follower. If the follower in an organization chooses not to follow, the leadership must take that problem seriously. And I think as an advisor, you all can assist that student in the leadership development activities to identify what those expectations are. Your students, especially those in a positional leadership role, will have to navigate through those different positions. And so I think this is one of those roles of advisors that sometimes we may forget or not necessarily think about, but helping our students navigate through different roles and positions that they have is very important. The actual functions of an advisor we definitely see are in terms of maintenance, everyday maintenance, on the programmatic side, and also with group growth. When we're talking about programmatic content, I always like to say just asking your students why they're doing what they're doing. What are they doing it for? And just helping them think through those possibilities. It may not be that what you believe that they're doing is right or wrong, but it's just playing devil's advocate with them, helping them see things from a different viewpoint. I think always asking them why, making sure that they're being value congruent is a great opportunity for growth. And speaking of growth, group growth I think is very important. It used to be that for our organizations we only expected there to be a president, treasurer, and advisor to start our organizations. We have now grown and want all of our organizations to grow to where we do expect president, treasurer, and 3 other members to start your organization, plus faculty, staff, advisor. And I think that where we are coming from that, if you truly believe in the mission and the vision of your group, we want to see it progress. We want to see it going towards fulfilling that vision of the organization. So knowing that you need your group to grow to be able to fill that, and for the sustainability is very important. So helping them navigate through that, I think, is a great possibility for our advisors. If we're talking about the true functions, day-to-day functions of advisors, basically you got to be there. We are looking for our advisors to be more than just a signature. We are wanting them to know when their meetings are, not necessarily that you need to be at every single meeting, but that at least you know when they are, and that you are in communication with your president and your executive board, that you're having regular advisor president meetings with them, and that they know how to contact you and communicate with you on a regular basis, is very important. And that when they do have their major functions, or it's a big meeting and there's a lot of topics going on, that you are there and you are visible. So I think that is important. And that you're helping them plan and navigate through the issues of planning and what all that entails. Also, knowing how to use and where to find the activities form for your student organizations. I would like to point out the activities form is not anything that we want our advisors to do. This is just something we want our advisors to know about. The activities form, which used to be called the EPF, or our event planning form, or also our travel planning form, known also as the TPF, is just now one form, and that would be the activities form. And that can be found on Boiler Link on your individual organization pages under events. And the presidents and your executive boards and officers have learned that in their workshops with Be Involved in Activities in Bozo. But again, this is not something that we want our advisors to be doing. We want just our advisors to know about. It's also good as the function of an advisor that you just know about the services and facilities that are available to students on campus, and just being knowledgeable about that. Speaking of being knowledgeable about what is available to our students on campus, it's also good if you review the university policies, which are now actually the student regulations, Part 7 of that, which really goes over what the procedure of student organizations is. And it is a great reminder for advisors just to say what is under our tutelage of what we need to be guiding our organizations through. And it encompasses everything from insurance to scheduling things during final exams to holding events. And it's just a really good resource to make sure that we know. And so that is definitely under Part 7 of the student regulations. And I will also point this out again as we go into resources, as we are going to be putting Part 7 of the student regulations under the resources tab for you on the Be Involved site. So I will reference this again later in the presentation. Next, make sure that you just keep SAO informed as a function of the advisor. We don't need to know about every little thing, but we do need to be kept up to date when elections happen. So within 3 weeks of your elections, please let us know. Also, the major problems that you may be having in your group, not the minor or not even the big. Those are the things that you can handle, but if it is a major issue, that is something that we probably should be alerted about. Also, let us know about the national and international conference opportunities and or the awards and honors that you receive as individuals or group or your organization group out there. We want to recognize you. We have a bulletin that goes out monthly, and I should say bi-weekly, and want to be able to put that out there and inform our whole campus about the good things that are going on in your organization. Some other functions of the advisors is just understanding the grants and the funding. We do not, as a university, give our organizations any money right in their bank accounts when they begin, and it is up to them just to understand the funding and the grants that are available to them. Our largest pool of money on Purdue University's campus comes from SOGA, which is Student Organization Grant Allocation, and that is given out twice a year. And so I will point out that that is under the campus links section of Boiler Link and can always be found there. But just understanding the grants and the funding and being able to help your students navigate that. On the same topic of money and funding and grants, it's okay to know about the money of your organization, and you definitely should know about the money. It is not that you should be dictating or telling your organizations what to do with the money, but you absolutely should be asking about their budgets, know how to see and look at their budgets and talk through their budgets with them, and help them navigate that process. And there absolutely should be no outside bank accounts permitted for our student organizations. All bank accounts should be held in the Business Office of Student Organizations, which is also known as BOZO. BOZO is a great resource, and they are more than willing to help you navigate any resource that you may have concerning your money. Another function of the advisor that we like to point out is knowing about demonstration and rallies. As a public institution, and our organizations are more than free to have and hold demonstration and rallies. We do have free space that is north of the flagpole on Memorial Mall. And just having our advisors understand and know that, which again, that can be found in our student regulations, but helping them navigate through that if that is something that they are wishing to do. Also, a big one is just blowing the whistle on hazing. Our student regulations defines hazing as forcing or requiring another person, regardless of that person's consent, to perform an act that creates a substantial risk of physical harm, substantially or seriously demeans or degrades any person, and or interferes with any person's scholastic activities. I think it is a myth that hazing only exists in our fraternity, sorority, and our cooperative life. It happens in many, many student organizations, and so we do count on our advisors to be alerted to that and making sure that they are letting us know and speaking up and speaking out when we are having these instances, because it is something that is very no tolerance for our university and definitely for our Office of Student Activities and Organizations. And lastly, definitely just making sure that as advisors you are giving your organizations praise and kudos, keeping them uplifted, that you are encouraging their hearts and keeping them focused and moving forward in their mission and vision and as they go forth in their organizations. The next section of our presentation has to deal with risk management. This is a topic that as advisors in the Office of Student Activities and Organizations, we have not really spoken about or talked about before. And I would like to point out that this is just the very, very tip of the iceberg of this conversation. We plan on having multiple conversations about this throughout the year via email, via newsletters, we are hoping to start an advisory council and definitely having some lunch and learn opportunities and maybe even some more physical workshops to really start this conversation about risk and just making sure that you understand that as an advisor, a university representatives, you do assume a small degree of risk, and basically helping you to be able to minimize your personal risk by being familiar with university policies and staying informed of organization activities and really just being able to use good judgment. The type of risk management that we are looking at really entails liability, safety, reputation, financial, and emergency. And we want to make sure that we minimize and prevent accidental loss through the use of these safety measures. Many of you have probably heard of the Jeanne Clery Disclosure of Campus Security and Policy Campus Crime Statistics Act. Basically, under federal law, campuses must compile and publish campus crime statistics yearly. This law mandates that any crime of violence must be reported to the university. This reporting must occur if the crime was reported to us or if we have seen the crime ourselves. And it does not matter if the crime goes forth to be prosecuted or charges filed. So this includes hazing and non-hazing incidents, or sexual or non-sexual incidents. Any violent crimes must be reported. And reporting a crime does not mean, again, that charges will be filed, but it is our duty to make sure that we report the crime. Our reporting can be done via a couple of ways. If it is an emergency, you must obviously dial 911 and make sure that that is taken care of immediately. If it is a non-emergency and it has happened after the fact, please feel free to call the University Police at 765-494-8221. Also, you may feel free to call the Office of Ethics and Compliance. And it's this office that has to actually turn in the report yearly to the federal government of things that are reported via the Clery Act. And it is headed up by our Vice President, Alyssa Rollick. And that office can be reached at 765-494-5830. And again, that is our Office of Ethics and Compliance. And it's with this office that we plan on doing many of our follow-up conversations, lunch and learns, and possibly workshops to really help you and guide you through your questions and concerns dealing with risk management as advisors. And I also like to point out a good resource is just the Clery Center. And online you can find them at clerycenter.org. Clerycenter.org. I like to call them the clearinghouse, really, for anything Clery Act oriented. They have great resources about the history of the Clery Act, training that is going on, and things that are just the status quo with everything Clery. So they are a great resource. Again, this risk management is just the tip of the iceberg of the conversation that we are going to be having throughout the year. If you have specific questions to that, please let our office know as we start to think about how we are going to form that conversation. Next, I would like to talk to you just about the resources that you have as advisors. We are really excited that as SAO that we have launched our new website, which is purdue.edu/be-involved. And if you go to that website, you will see that right in the middle, and then that there are 3 blocks, and the far right-hand block is an advisor tab. And that is there because that is how much we value you as an advisor, and we think it is important. We plan to have many of your resources that you can use and may need as an advisor under that tab, from the handbook, resources, our newsletter topics, if we're having lunch and learns, and just interested in advisors, and people, our database of willing advisors as well. All those things can currently be found on our ODOS website, but we do plan to move them very soon to our advisors tab under the Be Involved website. You also can find resources in Boiler Link under the SAO Campus Life Documents page. This is just a really good resource for all advisors and presidents and officers to know alike, that has a plethora of information, 49 documents there, from anything about insurance to a template of a constitution to things for your web access for your organization, to if you would like to send a letter for nonprofit organization for donations, if you're doing a car smash, just anything that you would like to find out, or a date auction. There are many resources under that SAO Campus Life Documents page. Another resource that I always like to point out is that there is a team that is more than willing to work with you in the Student Activities and Organizations Office. Our involvement team consists of our Assistant Dean, Martia Bronner King. Student Organization Management is led by Cheryl Brantley. Our student organization development is by myself, Tiara Nibbs, and our graduate professional is Hope Gerlach. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this webinar. Please feel free to contact me at any time via my email, which is tnibbs@purdue.edu, or via phone at 765-494-1232. And please, thank you for taking the time to make our organizations the best they can be for Purdue University. Have a great day.